You can also try the automated segmentation, which we can demonstrate here. So let's remove the two objects that we just added manually, and let's try to add them using the automation. So the goal here is to choose regions that you want and also regions that you don't want. So for example, I'm putting a couple green dots in this area that I want to segment. When using the segmentation, the automated segmentation capability, less information gives you better results typically. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to paint large areas. You actually want to just put a couple marks in the areas that you want. And then hit the start button, and then that gives us initial segmentation, and we can review that to see how good or bad it is. And in this case, we don't want this stuff over here, so I marked a region over there, and I can restart the segmentation here and see how it does. And it's now sort of going back the other direction. We can add a couple points there. Now we're getting closer to something that is more in line with what we want. So we can scroll through and say, I maybe want a little bit more over here. And you can also provide information in the different views. So if we have, one more down here, we can put a box there. Captured too much. Let's tell it to not get things out here. So left clicks give you green regions, right clicks give you orange or red regions, which are excluded from the segmentation. Now here, what we can see is the different pieces that we have here. And this is getting closer. You can also review it from this perspective. And this is pretty close here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to select these. I'm holding down Alt, and then I can pick my object, and that tells me that object number 2 is this ventricle here. Not sure where object 1 is, so let's use Alt again. So number 2 and 3 are the ventricles that we want. So we can choose those and then use these arrows to drop them over on this side. And that effectively saves our segmentation from the automatic. And now we can go back to the manual process and look at these objects from this perspective. We can also look at them in 3D. It's always good to review things in 3D to see if there's anything wild or crazy happening. And you can see them both here. Now, you might look at these and say, well, there's a bunch of holes. I don't want holes in my segmentation. And that is fine, because we can fix those easily with some of the Morphologic operations that are provided down here. So for example, if we want to fill in these little gaps, little holes, I can select the object. Let's start with the blue one here. And I can choose a closing. So a closing does a morphologic operation called a dilation, and then it does an erosion. So a dilation makes the object bigger, and then erosion makes it smaller. So I'm actually going to do it in 2 steps here. So I'm going to do a dilation on this blue object, and what you'll see here is and I'll zoom in for all of these views. You'll see that the segmentation expands by 1 pixel in every direction. So now we've applied that. You can see that it's gotten bigger. I could apply it again, and it'll still increase in size. But this is not what we want here. So we actually want to shrink it back down. So the way we shrink it is we now erode it. So I've did 2 dilations. So I'm going to do 1 erosion, 1 dilation back, and now I'm back to roughly the original size, but now all of my holes are filled in, which you can see here. Now to do the same thing on this pink one here, we can select that object, and we can, instead of doing the manual operations, we can just choose this. So closing, we'll do 1 dilation and 1 erosion. If you have bigger holes, you can, this will do 2 dilations, 2 erosions. If you have really big holes, you can do 3 dilations and 3 erosions. In this case, we just have a couple small holes here, and we can do 1 closing operation, which will then repair those holes, which you can see there. And now we have our objects.